Esports Nations Cup.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I don't know how much info we have on it and stuff, and it's like November 2026, and I think it's kind of like the idea that a whole bunch of esports are going to be involved, and you're gonna kind of like go in there, and I just don't really know what the relevance of that is, because I'm guessing they're trying to make like a World Cup. But okay, I'm just gonna like paint a pretty picture for you. It's gonna be Prime Chovy, Prime fucking like Keen. It's gonna be like Ruler, and then we're gonna spawn in the Netherlands. Dan, Kirave, washed up Febivin, fucking random on like 80 carry, and like Advien, and like two of like two of us haven't played. I'm gonna get my I'm gonna get reamed out in 7 minutes. I'm gonna look like an absolute fucking disgusting player, and I don't really know what the point is. I don't know like how much integrity it's gonna have. It's literally just gonna be like, oh, China against Korea. Oh, you're just gonna like honestly just grab the entire Genji roster and just slap it in there, and then that's kind of like it. So I don't really know what the point is. Maybe in like other esports it's gonna be useful, but in League there's not really any countries that can really compete. Like maybe Spain right now with Koi, but then again you just slap the entire Koi team in, and it just like who's not the
mid laner
Spanish in Koi? Yeah,
Jojo, it's going to be pretty rough for Spain.
Yeah, Jojo. I don't know. Like you put in like, I don't know. You just like have Razork lane swap or whatever, and you like put Razork mid or something, But it's just like I don't really know what the point is. You have your best teams anyway. It's like, I mean, like football World Cup, I get it, But it's literally just gonna look like San Marino versus like Germany or something every single round. So, and who wants to see that? Like the Netherlands doesn't even have any fans. Like they all just play. Like it's only like the football teams. They have like Ajax and stuff. They have like FIFA, and maybe that has like 500 viewers. That's it. Like there's a lot of countries which they just don't care.
I'm going to go the other way actually for this. Okay, so firstly, you're correct. Like, I mean, the final is going to be China versus Korea. We all know this. But for me and like the other teams, because they've done this in East Asia, right? And like they had, do we have to call it Chinese Taipei? Like, they have Taiwan, well, Chinese Taipei. I don't even know what they're classified as in the East Asia.
It depends if China's running the tournament, as far as I know, mate.
Well, okay, so there will be Chinese Taipei. Okay, so Chinese, we'll call them by the names of the tournament. Chinese Taipei, Vietnam and Japan, right? And then when Japan was like a separate league, right? And those teams would compete and they would get absolutely blasted. Like they would get destroyed in the most utterly humiliating way you could possibly get destroyed. But it was always very fun to watch the third place playoff between like Chinese Taipei and Japan, or Vietnam versus like I think Vietnam even made the final once because China and Korea were on the same side of the bracket, right? So to me, firstly, it's not interesting for those reasons. It's interesting to me, like the matchups I'm interested in are like the US versus Germany, or like Spain versus Canada, or like Denmark versus
Sweden or something, whatever. Pick one, yeah.
Right, like so I think those are going to be interesting ones. But yeah, let's make. The only way that it's not China versus Korea in the final is if they're on the same side of the bracket, in which case one of them is coming first and the other one's coming third, because then we need the third place playoff. Okay, so in that regard, it's not that interesting. However, the thing that I'm going to say that is really, really fun about this tournament is the complete and utter shit show that there is going to be when all of these rosters are decided and all of these coaching staff are decided. Because for Korea and China, it's very, very simple, right? They have their esports organization, they have Kesper, they have whatever, they will pick these orgs, and even then it's a really freaking controversial, right? When Kesper leaves out a certain player, there's always, oh, what have they done behind the scenes that we don't know, or were they not patriotic enough in this kind of a way? And that's when you have like a set panel of people.
Or did the coach pick his own player and stuff like that?
Exactly, yeah. And in this case, this is when you have a panel of people that are considered, okay, Kesper has issues in the past, but they are considered generally neutral and generally competent, right? Can you imagine who's going to decide when there is a controversy about...
I'll give you an obvious one, Peter. Should El Yoyo or Razork be the Spanish jungler? There you go. That's a civil war right there on the internet. Because you can make an argument for both, yeah. But if it turns out Melzet's the coach, you can see where they can have a nightmare. Exactly.
Or even better, okay, so now you've decided, and you're like, let's say because Fnatic don't win. Okay, so it's clear that Koi deserve. Okay, now you have to have a mid laner. So are you going to have somebody who is a first, like he plays mid laner in LVP? He's like a really, really solid mid laner. Maybe not the best mid laner in the league, but he's a solid mid laner. Are you going to play him, or are you going to role swap somebody into that role who doesn't play that position, who hasn't played that position for the entire year, but you're going to go put him in that role because he has a better name?
I can guarantee you, Razork is gonna say. I mean, I know him, right? I play with him. He's like, bro, I can play fucking Z mid and shit like this. And you're gonna have Razork against Trophy, and it's just gonna be like, no offense to my boy, you know, but it's lost.
I mean, what I will say is the end of so for me, this tournament, I know how the results are going to go, right? Like, I'm interested to see how Brazil would do against Vietnam, or Brazil against Denmark, or Brazil against US, right? For me, like that kind of thing is kind of interesting to me. I'm interested to see how Vietnam, as somebody who likes these tier 2 nations and has no illusion that they're ever going to beat any of the top ones, for me, that's kind of interesting. For UK, like there's zero chance for you. Like I don't even have like, are there any even British players? Like Maxwell doesn't play anymore. Like
Alfari's retired. They're all gone, man.
Like Kasing plays still, so like it's literally like Kasing and four others, right? Like so I there's literally zero hope for the UK, so I can sit there as a neutral. But the fun thing about this tournament is not going to be the tournament itself. It's going to be the 2 months that lead up to it, and what the decision that is going to be made for who has the power to pick these teams and who has the power to define the fate of people, where I don't even think like most fans or like every GM, I think some GMs can, but like every GM can detect who is better between two players which are very, very closely related, right? And obviously the teams that go are going to get destroyed, and then there's going to be a massive fallout because there's going to be controversy over the selection, and then the results are going to be bad, and then there's going to be fallout afterwards. And if you are like somebody who's interested in League, that is going to be really, really fun. Like that 2.5 months is going to be really, really fun. Competitively, I completely agree. Like competitively, just let China and Korea go and play it, and then like do like the Nations Cup in football, right? Like you have like four teams in League A, 4 teams in League B, 4 teams in League C, and that kind of thing. And then you have an interesting tournament, right? Like I would watch a tournament between Germany, Denmark, Vietnam, and US,
yeah, I mean,
right?
That's cool because it's at least like somewhat evenly matched, but I have no chance. I'm gonna get destroyed, you know.
The problem with that is Peter was too naive there because he just made a massive category error. You're in League of Legends, friend. In League of Legends, you had to pretend for like 10 years that actually the number 1 seed from Europe could be identically good to the number 1 seed from Korea. That's how the seeding was done for like a decade in League. You had to pretend that you can't know that Korea's better. So I'm sorry, Peter. How are you going to make that group, mate? How are you going to have that group with Korea and China? How dare you imply Spain isn't as good as Korea and China? You know what I mean? So first of all, there's that nightmare. Secondly, I'm amazed I haven't made this video yet. It's probably just too obvious. I've mentioned it too many times. I already saw this. If you ever followed Counter-Strike, we had this tournament in both CSGO and CS. In CS, it was called the World Cyber Games. You had to all be from the same country. In CSGO, it was called the World Esports Games. It was WESG, also took place in like China or whatever. And essentially, it was like an Olympics of gaming. We had to be like, I can tell you, first of all, it worked way better in World Cyber Games in 1.6 because back then, all teams were national pretty much, beyond, you know, like an Austrian bloke plays in a German team or like, you know, fucking a Canadian plays in an American team. Aside from that, everyone was from the same country. So you could make that vaguely work. And as you can already imagine, it's just a worse version of the tournaments we already had because you have the normal teams that have the 5 players. But then, for example, yes, when Mouse has a Turkish and an Austrian player, they're just worse. Like that was the best German team if people don't know. That just makes their team worse at the tournament. So you end up going, oh, this should be, oh, wait, it's just a worse version of the tournaments I already have. But we don't even live in that world anymore. We're more like the world of what CSGO and CS2 is, which is everyone's an international roster. Well, now it's even worse because now, again, you can't make the team easily. Now you're going to have this nightmare like it's who's getting called up to the national squad, what's the reasons why, what are the biases, oh, it should be this guy, should be that. So you get all that shit, by the way. Meanwhile, by the way, that's actually an area where automatically China and Korea have an advantage because another reason their process won't be as bogged down by that is they're going solely for the patriotic angle of like, this is about our country winning. That's not what the people in the West are thinking. They're fighting for their spot. Like El Yoyo's Shoya's not going, well, I actually think Razork's better than me, so you take the spot. He's going, I want to fucking play. I think I'm better than Razork. They won't be on the patriotic tip on that one. It'll just be like politics and who knows who, so that'll be a nightmare. Then secondly, MCOY's actually the best reason why this tournament would suck. Because notice when Dan started making the Korea team. By the way, you can literally make like 5 rosters out of the Korean and Chinese teams that would all win this tournament over any other team, not China or Korea. It's actually nuts how good their teams are. Just try. I know, look, the joke is already people like fucking Genji basically have a super team. You could just send that all 5 team. But I assume they do the rules where you can only have max 2 or 3 from one team, you know, and you'd have to blend them. But anyway, their teams are all like, they would look like Hall of Fames, all their teams. Meanwhile, the best, most obvious one that is not from Asia would obviously be MCOY, right? Because they've got 4 Spanish players. Look, again, you might not be able to use all 4 because maybe there'd be 3 limited rule to make people not pick the same team. But even if you could send all 4 MCOY, the joke is there isn't even a Spanish mid laner vaguely competitive, so you'd immediately have no team. Like, that's the most important carry role in the game. So you've already invalidated that. Like, again, who the fuck from Spain is now matching up against Chauvier Knight? Good luck. Even the best Chinese and Koreans can't do that. It's fucking impossible. So I actually think I'll give my own resolution. Here's what you all want, but you're not asking for it because you've followed their premise. No. You don't want the Olympics or the World Cup. You want the European Championships, you idiots. The European Championships would actually be balanced because, then you would have Slovenia would have like fucking Nemesis and Mickey X, and that would make them like way better than they should be. But then at certain carry roles, they'd be shit. Then, Spain would have all this roster, but they wouldn't have the mid laner. Then Denmark would have Caps and a couple of other people, but they'd be lacking it. That would actually be a fire tournament. That would be interesting. How hard could Caps carry? Could Mickey X make enough of a difference? Could some fucking, I don't know, could Irrelevant be good again in Germany? So it'll be half decent, and so maybe the prime players are better than people. That's an interesting competition. The competition when you airdrop in like the Avengers and fucking and the Monstars, which is like China and Korea, that's terrible. That's like a bad exhibition tournament. Like that's like when T1 flies over to play LFL teams. You know what I mean? Like that's garbage, mate. That sounds fun until you actually run down the practicality of what it would be like. And I'm sorry, there's not even a millionth of a chance that any of these European teams would beat the Korean team. It'd be so absurd if they did. It'd be so absurd.
There is 0 chance, but I will say, because I actually watched the Asia Games 2 years ago, Vietnam, it was best of 3, so it's not even best of 5, right? Okay, let's leave it.
By the way, you should probably make it best of 3 to make it more brandy, yeah. Okay.
Like if Vietnam went 1-0 up against China in the 3rd place playoff, and you know, maybe Vietnam can or
Taiwan. Taiwan's the other one, yeah, obviously, sure.
For Europe, there's like literal 0 chance, right? But like maybe Vietnam or maybe Chinese Taipei can get an upset. But then why even have this tournament? Just have the Asia Games.
No, and like I say, I would actually, for real, I genuinely, it would make more sense, by the way, just as 2 different competitions, have an Asia Games like that, and then have where basically everyone who was in China and Korea just competes for bronze, but that would still be an interesting match, like Peter says, and then have a European Championship. The European Championship would actually work, boys. That would actually functionally work as you'd want. It'd be more comparable to football, where yes, you have the stronger countries, but like Serbia can beat England in theory. That's not impossible. Like that like the difference is this would be like asking Serbia to beat like the fucking World 11 of football history. Like it's not going to happen, is it? Like they're not going to beat like Zidane passing a Ronaldo. Like you've asked too much on that one, haven't you? You've got to make it reasonable. Because I'm with you guys. It sounds exciting when everyone thinks of like, here's what everyone does. The real reason I have to make this video is because you have to actually show people what the teams would be. The problem is when you do the like quick math in your head, quick maths, you just go like, oh, I can think of 3 good players. Slovenia is the best example, by the way, because you can get like a good mid, good idiot. There's like 3 or 4 players they can put, but you can never make 5. You never make 5 that would ever get in a server with a Chinese team. You know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's a good point. We covered it well there.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.